Hi everyone, my name is Desiree Brokwa and I am one of the product managers in the Enterprise and Cloud Manageability team at Oracle. This session will focus on integrating Enterprise Manager with third-party systems such as Slack and Jira. Here is the agenda for today. I will first give an overview of integrating Enterprise Manager, also known as EM, with third-party systems. Then we will take a look into some of the enhancements of this extensibility. First, we will cover SNMP traps for incidents. After, I will give a demo of integrating Slack with EM. Next, go over using webhooks to send event or incident data to a third-party system. And lastly, we will end with an overview of using the Jira connector to create EM incident-related tickets. In Enterprise Manager, you can monitor issues impacting your IT environment using events or incidents. An event is a significant occurrence on a managed target that typically indicates something has occurred outside normal operating conditions, whereas an incident consists of one or more events. Incidents are useful for actionable events as EM has an Incident Manager console where you can further triage and diagnose these issues. However, often users also monitor their events or incidents through other third-party systems per their enterprise requirements. Therefore, it is important for EM to interoperate with these systems to comply with the user's enterprise standards. EM supports sharing of events and incidents through multiple methods such as notification methods, ticketing connectors, or event connectors. Let's take a look at how this integration occurs. The EM agent evaluates the metric and generates an event. It then sends the event to the Oracle Management Service, OMS, which can create an incident for the event. From there, the OMS can share event or incident data to third-party systems in these ways. First is through notification methods. The notification methods supported are OS commands, PL/SQL procedures, email, SNMP traps for events, or our newly introduced methods, webhooks, Slack, and SNMP traps for incidents. Using these, you can share events or incidents directly to your third-party system of choice. Next, we have ticketing connectors. Ticketing connectors open tickets with third-party ticketing systems in response to Enterprise Manager incidents. These ticketing connectors support sharing of incident information from EM to systems such as Jira, PagerDuty, and ServiceNow. Customizable ticket creation via EM ticketing templates. Synchronize tickets with incident lifecycle. Have in-context launch of tickets from Enterprise Manager and vice versa. And retry option for failed requests to share incident data. Lastly, we have event connectors, which share events to external event management systems. These event connectors support sharing of event information from EM to systems such as Microsoft SCUM and IBM Tivoli NetCool Omnibus. Customization of event to alert mappings via EM event templates. Synchronization of event changes in Enterprise Manager with the alerts in the third-party system. The third-party system contains URL references to Enterprise Manager event details. And finally, a retry option for failed requests to share event data. Now let's do a deeper dive of our latest enhancements to integrate with third-party systems. To begin, let's start with SNMP traps for incidents. Enterprise Manager supports sharing event information with third-party management systems through SNMP traps. For example, you can use SNMP traps to share event information for metric threshold violations. In the near future, we will also support using SNMP traps to share incidents with the third-party management systems. Note, this includes sharing incidents with compressed events. Both SNMP version 1 and SNMP version 3 will be supported in Enterprise Manager for incident and event payload. SNMP version 3 shares the same basic architecture of version 1, but adds authorization, privacy, and access control enhancements to SNMP administration and security. Now let's take a closer look into the basic methodology for setting up Enterprise Manager Advanced Notification for SNMP traps. First, define the notification method. In this example, here is the configuration for our SNMP version 3 trap. To configure, you first create a notification method for SNMP traps where you specify the name, username, if it supports repeat notifications, and more. You can also include a user security model USM entry for enforcing the security with SNMP v3 traps. Next, enable the OMS, which functions as an SNMP v3 agent and sends the traps. The OMS requires the following to be set: a port for communicating to external systems, and an engine ID, which Enterprise Manager will automatically generate from the hostname and SNMP v3 port. Next, assign the notification method to an incident rule. You must create an incident rule set to send an SNMP trap when an incident is created. And in the Add Action section of your incident rule, this is where you can select to send notifications using SNMP v3 traps. As I previously mentioned, we have expanded SNMP traps to support sharing incidents and incidents with compressed events to third-party systems. Event compression occurs when multiple correlated events are grouped together or compressed into one incident. This is used for noise reduction by reducing the volume of incidents in your environment. For example, if there are agent unreachable events for multiple targets monitored by the same agent, then this can be compressed into one incident as the underlying cause is related to that agent. Here is part of a sample output of an incident with compression shared by SNMP traps. Here you can see the incident information is passed from Enterprise Manager, such as the incident summary, which says there are 21 agent unreachable events on targets monitored by the agent. Additionally, we store other information, such as when the incident occurred. Here is the other part of the sample output. This is showing the events contained within the incident. Please note, for incidents with compressed events, SNMP traps will only maintain the latest 5 events. In the 5 latest events, you can see information such as the event summary, event type, severity, and when the event was created. In this image, the events are all target availability events related to an agent being unreachable, and they all have a warning severity. Now let's switch to the Slack notification method. Slack is a popular instant messaging application used by enterprises. Slack can also be used as an incident management tool for tracking events and incidents. To integrate with Slack, EM has introduced the Slack notification method. Using Slack, you can easily configure EM to send event or incident data directly into a Slack channel. Let's move on to a demo to view how to set up the Slack notification method to send an incident notification directly to a Slack channel. To access setting up Slack, first navigate to the Setup menu icon, Notifications, and then select Webhooks and Slack. This is the page where you can configure your notification settings for Slack. Note that this configuration can only be completed by superadmins. For this example, we will cover setting up a Slack incident notification. To do so, select Add Notification Method. Notice that the notification method supports both incidents and events. For this example, I want to focus on incidents. I also want to create a Slack notification, so let's navigate to its configuration settings. Here, we can configure EM to send notifications directly to an existing Slack channel. To begin, let's give the channel a name: Slack Notifications for Incidents. You also have the option to enter a description to further distinguish your notification method. Next, we have to enter a Slack URL and a proxy host and proxy port. The Slack URL should be for an existing Slack channel that you have previously set up. Now that we have completed the connection details step, let's move to the payload. The payload is where you can specify how you want to format the notifications to send to your channel. We provide a default payload to use. However, you can use the payload variables and modify the payload as you please to meet your requirements. For instance, I want to modify the default payload to take the payload variable for the display ID for the incident rather than the payload variable for the ID of the incident. So I would change the payload variable to use incident.incidentNum. Repeat notifications is selected by default, so we will maintain the selection. Select Create. The notification method now appears in your list. However, before enabling this notification method, you should test it. To do so, select the icon under the Actions menu and select Test Notification Method. The status says succeeded, so let's navigate to Slack to see the sample incident. Here you can see that a test incident notification has been sent to the designated Slack channel, which confirms that the method is working as expected and ready for use. Once you have completed setup, you can use Slack in your incident rules. To get to incident rules, select Setup, Incident, and Incident Rules. To select the notification method to be used during incident creation, you must create a new rule set. For the purpose of this demo, a rule set has already been created. It is called Slack Notifications. We will review where you can select the notification method to use. Here is the incident rule set that has already been created. We have already selected the targets that we want the rule set to apply to. Now let's navigate to the Rules section and click Edit for the existing rule. We are interested in all new incidents and updates to incidents, so let's select Next. Here is the Add Actions page where you can specify actions to be taken by the rule. Select the current add action and select Edit. Under the Send Notifications section, you will see a list of the notification methods created. Here, we can select Slack notification for incidents. Select Continue. Essentially, this action will automatically send an incident notification to our Slack channel when the following conditions are met. A new incident is created, if there are any updates to the incident, such as change in severity, and if the incident has been cleared. Click Next to specify a name and description for this rule, such as Slack notifications for incidents. Review the rule and then select Continue. Now that the incident rule has been updated to send a Slack notification for incidents, let's select Save. Now let's head over to Slack to see an example of an incident notification. Here is an example of a Slack incident notification. In this incident, we see that some details are carried over from Enterprise Manager, such as the incident number, summary, and when the incident was created. And that's the end of the Slack demo. Now let's head back to the presentation. Next, we will cover integrating with webhooks. A webhook is an event-driven HTTP-based callback function that allows data sharing between two applications. This is a modern way to communicate between two applications. To integrate with external systems that support webhook, EM has introduced the webhooks notification method. Using webhooks, you can send event or incident data from EM to any third-party systems that support receiving information through webhooks, such as Microsoft Teams. Let's take a look at how you can use Enterprise Manager to add a webhooks notification method to share events. Here is the notification page in Enterprise Manager to set up a webhook notification method. To begin, you must select Add Notification Method. This pop-up will appear. You will have the option to add a notification method to send events or to send incidents. For integrating with ticketing systems, we recommend choosing to send incident data. And for event management systems, it is recommended to select the event option. For our example, we can select applies to events and also select the option for webhook notification method. Now we will be taken to this page where we can specify further details to enable the webhook notification method for events. Here, you can specify a name and optional description for your webhook methods. For this use case, I named the method webhooks for events. Next, enter a webhook URL and other connection details. The webhook URL is the endpoint that EM will call with the event payload. External systems such as Microsoft Teams and Slack may refer to this as an incoming webhook. We support basic authentication, which requires a username and password. If you need communication to go through a proxy server, then you can also specify the proxy host and port. We also have HTTP headers, which can be used for passing application-specific name-value pairs to your external system. Last is the webhook payload, where you can specify the content and format of the HTTP request. For the content, use the payload variables that represent EM event data. When the HTTP request is sent, these variables will be replaced by the corresponding event data. For example, the event severity payload variable would be replaced by the actual event severity in EM, which could be warning or critical. You may also enable repeat notifications for your webhook by selecting the checkbox at the bottom of the page. Once you have saved your notification method for webhooks, you can test it out before enabling it for use. To do so, select the icon under the Actions menu, then click on the Test Notification method. This should then display the following pop-up where you can select the test button and the status will let you know if the method was successful or not. Here is a screenshot from a sample site that accepts webhook requests. You can see that the test notification was successfully sent to this external site and contains the Enterprise Manager sample notification information. Once you have tested and confirmed the notification has been successfully sent, then you can select this notification method from the Incident Rules page. Be sure to create an event rule in your incident rule set, and once you get to the Add Actions page, your webhooks method that was created will appear in the Advanced Notification section. This is where you can select it to send EM event data to your third-party system. Now let's view an example of using a ticketing connector. Jira is a popular incident management tool for tracking issues in your IT environment. To integrate with Jira, EM has introduced the Jira connector. Using the Jira connector, you can easily create Jira tickets based on EM incidents. Let's review a quick start to installing and using the Jira connector. After downloading the connector from the self-update page, you can create an instance of the Jira connector in this Management Connectors page. To do so, select the Jira connector from the list of connectors and then select Go. This will take you to another page where you can specify the connector instance name. Once a connector instance has been created, select it and click Configure to do additional configuration. Now we are at the configuration page. In the top section, please note the web service endpoints are filled in. However, each of these have a variable called subdomain that needs to be updated with your Jira subdomain. These fields aid in the communication process to Jira. You will also need to modify the fields that are shown in this red highlighted box, such as token, project key, and ticket key. All of this information can be found in your Jira environment. These fields aid in the ticket creation process for your Jira instance. If you are using a proxy, then you can enable the proxy settings and specify your host, port, username, and password. Web console settings are required if you want EM incidents to provide links to the Jira tickets that are created. The grace period is to prevent creating a large number of tickets for frequently created incidents due to reoccurrence of the same event. For example, Let's say an event is raised and causes an incident to be created in Enterprise Manager, and there is an incident rule defined to create a ticket in Jira. If the grace period is 1 hour and the event is cleared at 10 a.m., this clears the incident and ticket. If the same event reoccurs before 11 a.m., the grace period functionality stops creation of a new ticket for this and reopens the same ticket instead. Lastly, the retry period is the amount of times the connector will attempt to contact Jira in case of initial communication failure. Ticket templates specify the mappings between Enterprise Manager incident attributes and Jira ticket attributes. EM contains 7 out-of-the-box Jira templates for you to use to create tickets. The 7 templates are story, bug, task, subtask, incident, problem, and service request. You can choose which one fits your use case best. If these templates do not satisfy your requirements, then you are able to modify existing templates or create your own templates to fit your needs. For example, you can modify an existing template to include a due date, which will then add a due date in your Jira ticket. We recommend that you use one of the existing templates as the base template for making any changes. There are 2 ways to create Jira tickets from the EM console, manually or automatically. In the manual process, users can highlight an incident listed in the Incident Manager page. Once an incident is highlighted, navigate to the tracking section of that incident and manually create a ticket directly from there. In the automatic process, you will have to navigate to the Incident Rules page and create a rule set with an action that automatically creates Jira tickets based on incidents. If you create new templates, they will appear in the drop-down list as another template option. Once the ticket is created, the link to the Jira ticket is shown within the context of the EM incident to allow you to directly access the ticket. You will be able to directly select the link to launch the ticket in Jira. The Jira ticket that is generated contains the relevant information about the EM incident. The title of the ticket reflects the incident summary in Enterprise Manager. The description contains further information such as the severity, priority, and target type. Jira also has a link that you can click to go directly back into Enterprise Manager. Additionally, whenever an incident is updated in Enterprise Manager, this will be reflected in the activity section of a Jira ticket. In this example, the incident was cleared, which was added as a comment in the activity section. The comment mentions that CPU utilization has dropped to around 7%, which is below the warning critical thresholds and clears the incident. Jira also shows the updates to the severity, priority, and owner within the comment. In Enterprise Manager, we have enhanced our current monitoring extensibility to support additional third-party systems such as Slack and Jira. Enterprise Manager's extensibility will allow you to quickly resolve events or incidents spanning multiple management systems, as it has the ability to consolidate key monitoring information in your preferred third-party system. In doing so, you will be able to streamline key support processes and improve your operational efficiencies with all your events and incidents in one location. This concludes my overview of how to integrate Enterprise Manager with third-party management systems. Thanks for listening to today's session. Here are some resources to continue your learning. We will now begin the Q&A.